regime media, which calls itself Fox, losing all control as Donald Trump has zero plan as he and MAGA Republicans continue to crash and crash hard before the midterms. So state regime media trying just to throw mud against the wall and just see what sticks at this point. I mean, the propaganda that they are spewing is at a level of beyond nuts. It's hard to believe that there's actually an audience for this, but I want to show you the propaganda tactics so we can dissect what they're pumping in the veins of this brainwashed audience. But then I also want to show you what went down when the Democratic Senate candidate from Michigan, Abdul Al-Sayed, went on the Jesse Waters show, and he pushed back hard, and Jesse Waters was caught flat-footed when the same talking points that are being used by Fox when they don't have someone like a renowned doctor in Abdul El-Sayed, they're actually talking about what the people want. It's an incredible juxtaposition. So let me show you first the type of things that Jesse Waters was saying earlier in the day, talking about, oh, we need to focus on Toronto WNBA's non-binary turtle mascot, everybody. Here, play this clip.
Had the definition of a woman on it. And while the league debates guys and women's sports, Toronto's WNBA team just revealed their new non-binary turtle mascot. Yes, I said that. Dez is a blue snapping turtle who uses she, they pronouns and has a fondness for soft shell tacos.
Or then state regime media Fox, they had on the MAGA Republican Congress member Doug Collins, who's like, and now after IndyCar, we need NASCAR in Washington, D.C., because that's what the American people are asking for. Yeah, we're ripping away your health care. Yeah, gas and diesel's at an all-time high. Yeah, we're screwing over our ranchers by bringing in mystery foreign frozen beef, undercutting our own ranchers by 25%. Yeah, we're screwing you over, but NASCAR, everybody, you want to see what the VIP box looks like next year with Donald Trump, Natalie Harper, and Melania, and a good old NASCAR race, everybody, right? That's what we're going to do if you elect Republicans. Watch how deranged this is. Here, play this clip.
Hey, NASCAR, call Sean Duffy.
There's been a lot of talk, Mr. Secretary, that the Freedom 250 Grand Prix is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Do you think it is?
Oh, no, I think it should be every year, but I got one to add to it. I'm an old Southern boy. I'm a NASCAR boy. It's time to bring NASCAR to D.C. I've already tweeted about it. I'm going to stay
NASCAR. Now,
NASCAR to D.C.
Can those cars handle these tight turns here in Washington?
NASCAR can handle anything. We need NASCAR in D.C. as well, along with the Indy cars, two American sports. Put them right here.
More from state regime media, which calls itself Fox. They've been pushing this deranged story of this old NBA player, Cantor Freedom, who went to the WNBA game, and he now claims that he identifies as a woman, and then he mocks the WNBA players, and he says he wants to be in the WNBA draft because the WNBA draft says you have to identify as a woman, and they want to like gin up this whole ridiculous controversy and make like Cantor Freedom and all these like deranged right-wing, men on Fox, like they want to position themselves as like, we're trying to protect the women in the WNBA. No, just stop this performative BS. It's whiny, it's loser behavior, but state regime media platforms this because they don't have to talk about what the American people are feeling, which is psychologically tortured by this disgusting, despicable, vile Trump regime, which covers up child sex trafficking rings, where Donald Trump focuses on gallivanting with Natalie, hiding from Iran in catering containers while building golden ballrooms, throwing golf tournaments for himself, where he happens to win all the time while the American people suffer. Let me show you what Cantor Freedom had to say. Play this clip.
It's a very clear
Are you a trans woman?
Listen, Section 13, right? Article 13, Section 1 says if you identify as a woman, then you're allowed to play.
So you are identifying as a woman tonight?
I identify as a woman. Sure, yes.
Okay.
So I can play.
But they're never going to let you play.
Why not? I mean, that's the rule. That's the rule that they put, and I'm just following the rules. If they ever come out and say, okay, we are changing the rules, I respect their decision. I will, follow the rules. But right now, if you identify as a woman, you're allowed to play. And I am identifying as a woman, and I am actually allowed to play. See?
You said Sophie.
And then you have the Fox host saying, you know, when I just heard Can of Freedom say, when I just heard Ennis say, it was something that touched my heart. It really did. It made me feel so invigorated. He's standing up for the women. Just stop this performative crap and actually talk about what the American people are focused on. Here, play this clip.
But not to them. You know how I felt when I saw NS doing that? I was like, that's awesome. I'm like, I love that he's sticking up for us. And then I thought to myself, I just wish the women in the league would. I wish the commish and all the other just stand up for us too, please.
Yeah.
So let me show you the Abdul El Sayed interview now, where Fox got a rude awakening, and I thought Abdul El Sayed did an incredible job, Dr. El Sayed, that is, and he pushed back hard against Jesse Waters, and El Sayed's like, I know you don't want to talk about gas prices, you don't want to talk about groceries, you just want to bring up culture wars, and then Waters like, but what about men and women's sports? What do you think of that? Now Sayed's like, I'm running for the United States Senate, man. You want to talk about that? Let the leagues deal with that. You want to ask me questions about what the American people are talking about? The healthcare crisis, big pharma affordability. Here, let's play this clip.
So the question, so again, like Jesse, you have not asked me one time about the issues that people actually care about in Michigan. You don't want to talk about gas prices. You don't want to talk about groceries. You don't want to talk about healthcare. You don't want to talk about the stupid trade war that's about to destroy Michigan's economy.
We spent the whole interview talking about that stuff.
That's destroying, that is destroying our own military. You don't seem to want to talk about any of those things. You want to bring up all this culture war that, you know, I'm not here to fight a culture war. I'm here to
We
fight the
talked about
affordability
gas
crisis that people are
prices
facing.
and the Green New Deal, okay? If you want to do an interview,
I brought them up every time.
You can do the interview,
You're
okay?
asking me, like, you're doing
I'll
the greatest hits, Jesse. Like, I mean, this is, like, you could play this game if you want, but, like, you can keep doing the greatest hits if you want. You told me we're going to come on for a conversation, and when we have conversations, I think it's okay to also ask questions. I just want to understand what you're getting at here.
I'm getting at whether you think
Michigan,
men should play
as the
in
next
women's
U.S. senator in
sports.
Michigan,
It's a big
I'm
issue.
interested in getting money out of politics, putting money in your pocket, and passing Medicare for all.
You're
You know what most people
filibustering,
don't care
Abdul.
about what sports kids play. And
You're
also,
filibustering.
I'm just
It's a
answering
big
your questions
issue.
because, like, I want
You
to talk
guys
about the
kinda
issues
lost
that
on
your
that issue
viewers
last time.
deserve to hear about.
All right, so you want to answer that question.
What issue?
You won't answer the question.
What issue? Go ahead, Jesse. What issue?
Should men
Go
play
ahead, ask
women's
it again.
sports? You have daughters, right?
I think that, look, I played sports my whole life. Sports were an important part of my life. I'm grateful for the opportunity to play sports. And at the end of the day, the decision of who gets to play what sports ought to be decided by the people who govern sports. I'm running for U.S. Senate. Jesse, it's insane. I'm out here trying to take on like the healthcare crisis and big pharma, and you're asking me about who gets to play what sports. It's silly. People can't
It's
take you
kind of a
seriously.
big thing if you've
Really.
been following the news recently, Abdul. Let me ask you about the politics. We'll get to your race. Let's
Jesse,
do your
look,
race right now.
Please be serious. Like, I'm here with you. I want to have a conversation about the issues that matter.
Let's
Like,
do it.
Let's talk about the things that people are actually talking about.
Okay.
Now let me interrupt for just a moment with some big news. The climate alarm right now is blaring across Europe as extreme heat and massive wildfires tear through parts of France and Spain, forcing hundreds of thousands of people to evacuate. Some fires have become so intense that they're generating so-called fire clouds, which can create their own winds and lightning. This comes after Western Europe experienced its hottest June on record, with an estimated 10,000 excess heat-related deaths during the late June heat wave. Steve Trent, founder and CEO of the Environmental Justice Foundation, writes in a new piece for The Ecologist that the warning signs are now coming from every direction. But, and I want to be clear about this, Trent says that there are solutions. He argues government should phase out fossil fuel subsidies, stop approving new oil, gas, and coal projects, dramatically expand renewable energy, and modernize electrical grids. He also calls for greater investment in disaster preparedness and for protecting forests, wetlands, and oceans that could help reduce the impact of extreme weather. And, well, here's where the United States comes in. At the very moment experts like Trent argue that governments need to lean into renewable energy, the Trump administration is moving in the opposite direction, championing fossil fuels, attacking wind and solar projects, and retreating from international climate efforts. Trent argues that businesses should also stop financing fossil fuel expansion, cut emissions throughout their supply chains, and invest heavily in renewable energy, storage, and efficiency. And he says that this isn't simply about the environment. Renewable energy is increasingly cost competitive, meaning that climate action can also mean new investment, greater energy independence, and stronger economies. That's the latest. Now I want to hear from you. Should politicians be making renewable energy like wind and solar a bigger priority? And what do you think about the Trump administration moving away from clean energy while experts are calling for countries to do precisely the opposite? Let me know right now in the comments. I want to hear from you. Ben, back to you.
More from Abdul El Sayed, who went on the Jesse Waters show. And El Sayed says, yeah, Donald Trump just wants to blame everything on his predecessor. But at this point, isn't it the Trump economy? Of course it is. Play this clip.
Foreign policy.
You want to talk about inflation? I'd be happy to talk about inflation. Jesse, you actually said the word. Because everywhere I go in Michigan, people are talking about the fact that they've never had to worry as much about life being as unaffordable as they say right now. Now, I get it. Donald Trump likes to blame everything on his predecessor. But let's be clear, this is Donald Trump's economy right now. And he's about to make everything so much worse because he's in a vanity war with the Prime Minister of Canada. And look, like, I'm in Michigan and you're from New York, right? So you know Canadians, man. They're the only people I know who apologize before they even did his thing. So now they're raising the tariff to 50%. What's that going to do to inflation?
Yeah, what is spending $4 trillion going to do?
And more from Abdul El Sayed here, who calls out Pete Hegseth, the despicable Hegseth. Here, play this clip.
See, rather than on the side of everyday Michiganders.
No, because I don't want you guys to blow the country. Up. Do you know how much the federal budget is now?
No, neither do I. Here's exactly
What's the federal budget?
You guys want to, right? Pete Hegseth, who used to work
answer
for
the question. Do you know what the federal budget is?
To raise. No. I just want to talk about this. Look, you want to talk about budgets? I'm happy to do that. The guy who used to work on your channel, I think he was like the 6th host on the 5. He wanted to raise our military budget to $1.5 trillion, and you don't seem to be upset about that. What? So we could fight a war we don't know how to get out of? To raise our gas prices $5 a gallon? That doesn't make sense to me, Jesse. You want to talk?
So I wanted to show you that so you can see what a real conversation looks like. And then state regime media throughout the rest of the day would have on guests like this. You know, the WNBA has been with defining women. What are you
Nah, y'all, I have no idea what happened with that, but I got y'all. Hold up.
Talking about? There's never been a transgender WNBA player like in the history of the WNBA. I don't know what issue you're trying to do. I know what you're trying to do. I mean, I don't. You're just trying to. You're trying to just bully the transgender community just because. I mean, these are humans. These are people. You know, we should be empathetic. We should be loving to each other. What is the point of this, other than to divide the American people along? To create these lines and just be bullying. Here, play this clip.
What's your response?
My response is that the WNBA has been struggling with defining a woman, and it really is only a matter of time. And actually, in the past, there was a woman, I'm forgetting, a trans woman who was in the WNBA. I think his name was Lachey. I cannot remember exactly, but it is an issue if you can't define what a woman is for the WNBA. And it also is reflective of the times that we're in.
More from Enes Kanter Freedom right here. And he was like, he was saying this WNBA player, he was at the stadium and he was like mocking the WNBA players. And then one of the WNBA players yelled back at him like, dude, what do you get out of here? Like, what the hell are you, like, leave us alone. Let us play. What are you doing? And then he was like, she yelled at me and she said that Sophie Cunningham's not going to sleep with me. And then Laura Ingram's like, well, do you want to sleep with her? I don't want to sleep with her. Okay, what the hell? This is what they were doing the whole damn day on state regime media. Play this clip.
Literally the next position, she came back and she started yelling at me and said, she's not going to sleep with you.
Wait, who's not going to sleep with you?
Sophia Cunningham is not going to sleep with you.
I don't even understand. Are you trying to?
I'm not
sleep
trying
with Sophie
to. No,
Cunningham?
definitely not. I want to make this very clear. Definitely not.
And then they bring in Usha Vance, and Usha Vance is like, I never met JD's mama and papa, but I love the children that they raised. I never met his papa and his mama. Okay, this papa moi stuff is getting freaking weird, man. What are we talking about here? I get he calls his grandparent mama and papa. The guy's a vice president. What, guys? Everybody. We're in a catastrophic and unlawful war with Iran. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. Iran struck another tanker last night. In the Bab el-Mandab Strait, the Red Sea, the Houthis struck a Saudi Arabian tanker yesterday morning. You have Treasury Secretary Bessent declaring economic D-Day against anyone who does business with Iran. And then all of the countries laughed in our Treasury Secretary's face and don't take his words seriously because he and the Trump regime have proven to be absolute clowns. We have him also wanting to tap into the Treasury's general account to do further bond buyback bailouts and manipulate the market. You have all of this going down, and mama, papa. Here, play this clip.
Yes, I never met JD's mama and papa, but I do know and love the children that they raised. You know, his mom, his aunt and uncle, and they have never been anything but incredibly loving. I mean, his aunt is like a second mother.
And then you have Tim Scott, the MAGA Republican senator from South Carolina. He comes in and he's on the Hannity show. He's like, Sean, these Democrats are stealing our culture, Sean. Me and you, Sean, our culture. These Democrats are coming in and they're trying to take our culture, Sean. Okay, here, play this clip.
These radicals don't just want new policies. They want to change the very DNA of what it means to be an American. They're coming after our culture, Sean, and that is what makes them dangerous.
And then, of course, you got to end the night on regime media, bringing in Kelsey Grammer to attack Social Security. That's what I was like thinking to myself. I'm like, okay, well, what do I need right now? I need Kelsey Grammer attacking Social Security. Boom, wonderful. Regime media, thank you is what I wanted. Here, I'll play this clip.
There's 62,000 Social Security Administration employees. Why? Why would we just allow people to invest 12% of their income themselves and retire on it? They'd all be millionaires.
Well, how about Trump gets 300,000 people to leave the federal workforce? Has anyone noticed any changes? I mean, that's just 300,000. It's the lowest number of federal workers since the early 60s, Kelsey. And as far as I can tell, everything's to be going as it always has. I have to.
It looked like y'all still moderators to me. I don't know what was going on, but it looked good over here.
I said, so utterly freaking deranged. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you so much.
Breaking news right now. My brothers and I wrote a book. It's called WTF America. And well, doesn't that just say it all? It comes out officially this October, but you can pre-order your copy today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.
POV, me happily thrifting since I got all my bills covered this week. I downloaded Dave and got $350 to help with bills. Now I have time to find the perfect outfit. Download the app to get cash fast with Dave. Up to $500 in 5 minutes or less.
State regime media, which calls itself Fox, losing all control as Donald Trump has zero plan as he and MAGA Republicans continue to crash and crash hard before the midterms. So state regime media trying just to throw mud against the wall and just see what sticks at this point. I mean, the propaganda that they are spewing is at a level of beyond nuts. It's hard to believe that there's actually an audience for this, but I want to show you the propaganda tactics so we can dissect what they're pumping in the veins of this brainwashed audience. But then I also want to show you what went down when the Democratic Senate candidate candidate from Michigan, Abdul Al-Sayed, went on the Jesse Waters show, and he pushed back hard, and Jesse Waters was caught flat-footed when the same talking points that are being used by Fox when they don't have someone like a renowned doctor in Abdul El-Sayed, they're actually talking about what the people want. It's an incredible juxtaposition. So let me show you first the type of things that Jesse Waters was saying earlier in the day, talking about, oh, we need to focus on Toronto.
Hey, everybody. It is Katie Fang. Is it 5:30? I think it is. Tuesday, August 25th, 2026. This is Sidebar Live on the Katie Fang News Channel. So grateful for you, your time, for your energy, for your support. Would love to have you hit that subscribe button if you have not done so. Please support the work that we are doing here at Katie Fang News by subscribing. We are on a campaign, folks, to hit 1 million, I can't believe I'm going to say it, subscribers before the end of 2026. Don't wait till the end of 2026. Hit that subscribe button. Let others do so. I often have y'all ask me, how can you support the work that I am doing in independent journalism? It's by subscribing. It's free. And if you want, and I was told by Sydney, the amazing Sydney, I got to point this way. There's a QR code as well. If you look at that QR code, you can also subscribe for free to the podcast that also accompanies Katie Fang News. But we'd love your support on both and all platforms. But thanks for tuning in.
Vernon
As
J.
I noted on social media, as I teach
Vern, shout out to you in the chat. What it do, man?
today's sidebar, we have so many headlines to cover. I decided that we would launch today's show by talking about the smorgasbord of stupidity that is going on across our country. If you notice, you like that alliteration, folks. Smorgasbord of stupidity. It is a day ending in Y in the Trump administration. We will get to the absolute latest very soon in my lawsuit against Todd Blanche. I know you're all interested in that. But let's start with this headline. If you can believe it, allegedly, the Trump Department of Justice is considering its own form of chasing accountability against this ICE agent you see on your screen right now. His name is Christian Castro. And if you are a subscriber here at Katie Fang News, you will know that I interviewed Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison just the other day. And we were talking about the lawsuit that he has brought against Texas Governor Greg Abbott to be able to get that ICE agent Christian Castro extradited back to Minnesota to face 4 felony counts of assault, as well as falsifying a report to the police. Basically, he shot into an occupied home. He injured a man in the leg. The bullet lodged in the home of a child, in the room of a child. And he lied to the FBI about being under attack by this poor migrant that actually was shot in the leg. He got busted when it came out through video surveillance and other witnesses that the guy was a lying sack of shit. And so as a result, he got arrested, and well, he hasn't been arrested yet, although he's in custody in Texas. But the reason why I wanted to start with this is, if this is the case, and we look at these headlines, and the Trump DOJ is considering charging this ICE agent in the false lies he made and the shootings that he did in January, then this maybe is the beginning of some measure of justice. But folks, I see you there. I'm holding my breath too, because I don't know if that ish is going to happen. Why? Well, look, we haven't seen the Trump Department of Justice provide cooperation to the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. That is the investigative agency in Minnesota that has been investigating the murders of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy. As we know,
I told y'all that shit wasn't going nowhere.
The federal government has been throwing up obstacles in the sharing of evidence and information with Minnesota state authorities who are investigating the murders of those 2 innocent people. They have also, they being the feds, have also facilitated the bye-bye, where did you go, of the CBP and ICE officers that were involved in those 2 murders. And so I'm not holding my breath. And as we know, what do I like to say here? The devil's in those details, right? Let's talk about the timing of these headlines, because I find them to be incredibly suspicious. They look like they're good headlines. Exclusive. Justice Department considers bringing charges against ICE officer in Minneapolis shooting. The other headline, Sydney, feds consider criminal charges against ICE officer accused in January shooting a Venezuelan immigrant in Minnesota. Looks like they're trying to get that to happen, right? But let's go to Texas. As I mentioned, Keith Ellison, fantastic Attorney General of Minnesota, filing that lawsuit against Greg Abbott. He had to go to court today. He had to go to court today because he had to argue to a Texas federal judge that they should not release this ICE agent, Christian Castro, into the public because he's a flight risk. I mean, he did a crime in Minnesota, and then they found him in Texas. So you would think, if the feds are thinking of charging this guy, you would think that there also would be the feds telling Texas Governor Greg Abbott to get the hell out of the way and to make sure that he either extradites this guy, Christian Castro, to Minnesota, as Governor Walz has asked, or that maybe he would sit on him.
This settlement check completely changed my life, and it came from a car accident I almost forgot about. I'm honestly shaking as I record this. I never imagined something this big could come from an accident that felt so small at the time. If you've been in any kind of vehicle accident in the past 2 years, even if you think it was minor, even if you were just a passenger, you might be entitled to far more than you realize. Here's my story. I was stopped at a red light when, BAM! A distracted driver slammed into me from behind. My neck felt a little stiff, but the car seemed okay. We exchanged info and I drove home. Big mistake. Over the next few weeks, the pain got worse. I started missing work. My car developed issues I hadn't noticed right away. The insurance company tossed me a tiny offer and basically said, take it or leave it. I almost did. Then my sister's boyfriend Marcus told me about something called free case evals. He said, dude, just answer 4 questions. What's the worst that could happen? At first, I thought he was exaggerating, but he had used the exact same tool after his own accident and told me it changed everything for him. So I clicked the link, answered 4 simple questions, and in less than 30 seconds, it told me I might actually qualify for a real settlement. I figured, yeah, right. But I had nothing to lose. A couple of months later, I was holding a settlement check that was dozens of times higher than what insurance first offered me. And here's where it gets crazy. I shared this tool with 5 people I know who'd been in accidents. My coworker Diana, just a passenger in an Uber, thought she had no case. She ended up with a life-changing settlement. My neighbor Kevin thought his accident from over a year ago was too late. It wasn't. My cousin Ashley, a bike accident with a car door. My buddy Ryan swore it was too minor to matter. He was wrong. Even my mom's friend Janet, she's in her late 60s, barely uses technology, but with some help she filed and was shocked at the result. 5 people, 5 different situations, and all of them discovered they were entitled to way more than they thought. Here's what nobody tells you. Insurance companies have one job, to pay you as little as possible. They count on you not knowing your rights. But this tool changes everything. You don't need to understand law. You don't need to hunt for some random attorney. You just click the link below this video, answer 4 basic questions, and it instantly checks if your case qualifies. If you do, they connect you with a specialist who handles everything. No upfront fees, no court dates, no fighting insurance companies yourself. A year ago, I would have accepted that tiny insurance payout and considered myself lucky. But knowledge is power. Diana was just a passenger. Kevin thought his case was expired. Ryan thought his was too minor. Even Janet, who can barely send a text, discovered what was possible. The craziest part? Most accident victims leave massive amounts of money behind, simply because they don't know a tool like this exists. Insurance companies love when you stay in the dark. But you're watching this video right now, which means you don't have to. Whether you were driving, riding as a passenger, walking, cycling, or even in an Uber, if someone else caused your accident in the past 2 years, you deserve to know what you may actually be entitled to. Don't make the same mistake I almost made. Don't let insurance companies dictate what your pain is worth. Click the link below, answer 4 simple questions, and see if your accident qualifies. If you do, The Free Case of Owls team does the heavy lifting for you. You just wait for answers. Thousands of people across the country have already done this and discovered settlements they never thought possible. Imagine the relief of finally covering bills, paying down debt, or getting back on your feet after such a stressful experience. But you'll never know unless you check. The clock is ticking. Don't wait until it's too late. Click the link now and discover what your case might really be worth. Free Case of Owls. 30 seconds. 4 questions. Start today.
Hold him so that the feds could come in and do something. Oh, but no, that's not the case. Look at this. This is a filing that was done by Governor Abbott in that lawsuit that was brought. It's an opposition motion or response, excuse me. And I want to get into some of the details of this. You want to know why? Because this is the position that the governor of Texas is taking. Are you ready? I'm just going to share a little bit of the language because I think it's important for you to hear. Greg Abbott is stating that 1 month ago, he directed the Secretary of State in Texas to investigate, that's his own language, to investigate whether Christian Castro is even a fugitive based on public and reports and a preliminary investigation indicating that he, as in Castro, the ICE agent, was ordered to return to Texas by ICE. The governor has serious doubts that Castro qualifies as a fugitive, but he hasn't received that report from the Secretary of State, so he can't make a decision as to whether or not he wants to grant Minnesota's request for extradition. He says, as in Abbott, no state may short-circuit the Constitution's protection simply because it wants to claim its pound of flesh. The court should deny emergency relief and ultimately dismiss the lawsuit brought by Minnesota in its entirety. As we heard from Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison when I spoke to him here at Katie Fang News just a couple of days ago, he said, it's not discretionary. The federal law and the state law requires that when the extradition request is made by the governor of Minnesota to the governor of Texas, it must be complied with. And so this is just a whole lot of grandstanding and bullshit from Governor Greg Abbott, who clearly wants to protect an ICE agent who likes to be gun and trigger happy and likes to lie to law enforcement about what happens. Check out this. This is the response from Ellison, Attorney General Ellison. It was filed today. This is their reply in support of the restraining order that they're seeking. And it says on the very first page, Minnesota filed this lawsuit on August 18th after making dozens of inquiries about the status of Castro's extradition. Abbott never responded to the inquiries, and for the very first time, he's now claiming that he's investigating whether Castro is a, quote, fugitive for purposes of the extradition clause and the Extradition Act. The sheriff who currently has Castro in custody does not oppose what Minnesota is seeking and confirms that he will not release Castro if otherwise ordered by the court. But the court should not be fooled by Abbott's investigation into Castro's fugitive status. There is a real risk that if Castro is released, he will flee. He is a flight risk. And that is the reason why the court should grant Minnesota's ask to make sure that Abbott signs that extradition request and he gets turned over to Minnesota authorities and not released to the public. As I said, I interviewed Attorney General Ellison. I want to play a little bit of sound of what he had to say about this because this is a very important thing, folks. There is a 90-day window that is ticking that expires tomorrow, August 26th. And that is the reason why Minnesota was forced to go to Texas to file an emergency motion to get help from a federal judge because Governor Abbott in Texas wants to harbor a fugitive in Texas. But take a listen to what AG Ellison had to say. Look, this 90-day window is really important because the window runs on August 26th. And for people who are following along here, once that 90 days is up, the guy, Christian Castro, who's currently being held by the sheriff, he will be released. And so what are you seeking from a court? Because I saw you filed in federal court in Texas in Brownsville Division. So what are you asking the court to do?
We're asking, we have two things. One, we're saying don't release him to the sheriff. We want the court, we want the judge to issue a court order to tell the sheriff not to release him. And we have and our motion is to make the governor sign the warrant to release him to Minnesota. So if that happens, they may appeal, they may not. If they don't, he's on his way back to Minnesota. If they do, then that's going to be in the Fifth Circuit. That's why we need the jail to hold on to him. Then, if the Fifth Circuit rules, upholds the district court judge, which we believe will rule in our favor, then he's coming back. If they don't, then we got to go to Supreme Court for an emergency writ. So we've gamed this thing out, and I'm telling you this: Mr. Castro will face justice in Minnesota. Period.
Listen, if you've been in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead. That's what I did, and that's how I got this $140,000 check in less than 30 seconds. Listen, I know it sounds crazy, but trust me.
Hail to the...
Yeah, Patrick, I heard about that. I've been seeing it. I've definitely been seeing it. Smash that like button, double tap that screen, y'all. Let's get to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I'm going to pull something up on that too, Patrick.
the type of energy we need, don't we? So, like I said, people, don't hold your breath. I don't know if the feds are going to do anything, but look, we just got this exclusive latest from Attorney General Ellison. This is a statement that just came out. They went to court today. They argue that Abbott has no discretion in the matter of Castro's extradition. If Abbott does not execute his legal and constitutional duty to return Castro to face justice here, Minnesota will suffer irreparable harm if Castro is set free and allowed to flee the country. The court said it hopes to issue a written order by tomorrow. I look forward to Castro's mandatory extradition in Minnesota to face the criminal assault charges the state has laid against him here for his actions during Operation Metro Surge. You really think that he got sent to Texas because of his job? You really think that? Or maybe it's just conveniently closer to the Mexican border. How ironic. All righty, so that is something we are watching carefully. We'll make sure that we report to you at Katie Fang News what happens, but I wanted to make sure you had the details because like we do here, we go beyond the...
Man, shut up. Y'all killed me with this propaganda and shit y'all be talking about.
Headlines. Let's move on to the next important topic in the smorgasbord of stupidity. Once again, Donald Trump, convicted felon Donald Trump, has decided to piss off one of our great neighbors. That is Canada. Here is the latest when it comes to the tariff war that we are in with Canada. Because talks on Friday between Canada and the United States failed, we now have a dollar for dollar match by Canada to any of the tariffs that are being imposed by the United States. Now, Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada announcing that we are now at war, as in Canada, with the United States because of convicted felon Donald Trump's attack on that country with his illogical and stupid and absolutely draconian tariffs that he's trying to impose. Take a listen to Canadian Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne. What a name, folks. François-Philippe Champagne. Listen to what he had to say about these tariffs.
Those tariffs will have real consequences for Canadian workers, businesses, and communities across our nation. Canada must respond, and today we are, in a proportionate, targeted, and strategic way. Today I'm announcing that Canada will match the United States tariffs dollar for dollar, rate for rate. Effective September 8th, Canada will impose counter tariffs of up to 15, 25, or 50% on $27.6 billion in imports from the United States of America. For each product, our tariff would match the American tariff on the same type of Canadian good.
How dumb do you have to be to pick a fight with Canada? I just want us to stop for a second and think about the stupidity of felon Trump. That of all the countries that we want to be picking a fight with, they're going to pick it with Canada. I mean, we share a fucking border with Canada, but this is what we're going to do. So think about this. Carney said, quote, "We have recognized from the start that America has changed. We recognize that sometimes its signature is written in pencil." But let's talk about the details, folks. Ready? Canada says that their retaliatory tariffs will be as high as 50% beginning on Tuesday, which is today. September 8th. The tariffs that we just heard from the Canadian finance minister, 50, 25, and 15% will be on about 700 products. The most significant is a doubling of the tariffs on, ready, American steel and aluminum. That will be 50% tariffs. Many of the American products Canada will now tax will mirror the Canadian exports that are being hit with these new U.S. tariffs that have been imposed by Trump, including clothing, forestry products, tools, and electronics, including smartphones. But Canada is tagging the U.S. on Canadian tariffs for things like dishwashers, washing machines, and stoves. The new tariffs account for $20 billion of the $382 billion of the products that Americans bought from Canada last year, and cover a wide array of goods from, ready, fake mustaches to dog leashes. But again, we are now in a war with Canada because of Trump's dumbass tariffs. Take a listen to Ontario Premier Doug Ford and his message to felon Trump.
Did the Prime Minister tell you to ask you to tone it down a bit?
No, he didn't. I'm not going to comment, but he wasn't against that. And I have a lot of real estate on my ass, so he has a lot of room to kiss my ass. So.
Yeah, tell Trump how you really feel.
I'm telling you, man, the Canadians, they got some balls. So this is also the reaction that came from felon Trump to this war with Canada. You would think that maybe perhaps cooler heads would prevail. Maybe he would listen to the counsel of some smart